and welcome to another Africam show where we'll be looking at all sorts of wildlife through the various live cameras distributed around Africa. My name is Taylor, and I'm going to be hosting the show for the next 45 minutes. And yes, this is live, so you can ask me questions or just send in your comments. But as tradition has it, what we typically do if you are new here is that we say hello, so I know who's watching. And if you're drinking or eating something that is delicious, please share it with us. And we welcome you to community that we can. Oh, by the way, there's a day too, which you can also catch just in case you absolutely love it and you need more. Here we go. We've got Zygote who's just popped on. Namaste to you, Zygote. We've got Bridget McKinney who says hello. Everyone's apparently dying of thirst today because no one's got any of drinks. I myself am also going to be severely dehydrated. Sorry about that, everybody. It seems as though we had just had an issue with the camera or at Hyena Pan, but we'll pop past there. We are now in South Africa, and we're in an area that's sort of in the northwestern corners of South Africa. And this reserve is called Madikwe Game Reserve, and we are at the Tau Lodge camera. It's barren, it's dry, the trees haven't got many leaves. The ground is really grey. And I think I can just see a crocodile on the bottom of the screen. I thought that was water for a second, but we'll go back to it in a moment. It's always good just to scan and have a look around to see if there is anything else. You can even see the tree that we're just passing by now has been devastated by elephants, just trying to get every last morsel that they can until the season gets better. Amber Co, you said waving. I'm waving back with both hands. You know that awkward wave that we do sometimes? I'm doing one of those to you, Amber. You said you're here with your coffee for the show, and it's only a pleasure for me being here. I love it, and I'm always grateful to do work for Africam. It's so much fun. So there we go. The skies actually look quite dark. I'm now looking outside going, the skies are quite blue here, but we have had quite a bit of wind. There's some elephants feeding on the horizon. You might see those big grey things. And I do want to just have a look at the weather. Let's see what's happening, because I see there's some big weather systems forming. Oh, okay. So from tomorrow, it's going to cool down. And also the blue that I was looking at was, in fact, the mountain. What an absolute silly billy I am. Bowl of kittens. One of the best handles I've ever heard of. It's hysterical. You said you got an orange and rose kombucha. I haven't had kombucha forever. I don't know how I feel about the rose thing, though. Rose, anything flavored for me, but I hope that it is delicious. And Kauru, there you are. And you have got your usual milk and chicken noodle soup. Well, not the chicken noodle soup part. That sounds delicious. Is it homemade? And then Newfie709, you said, good morning, y'all. Good morning back to you. I hope that you're having a fantastic morning. Okay, now let's look for some wildlife. We've done a big scan around to see what we can see. So we know we briefly passed elephants, but hopefully we'll get some coming to the water. I know there's a crocodile lurking about, so keep your eyes glued to the bottom of your screen. And then once we see that crocodile, we're all going to yell, stop, at the same time. You must yell so loudly that I'll be able to hear you. Oh, there we go, Mr. HUAE87. You've got milk and cake. What to have? I'm food and drink envy right now, which is sad. Be sipping on some water. Sorry, everyone. I don't know if it's my side or if the cameras are just glitching a little bit today. You know how it goes. Okay, we're back at the tree that the elephants have chomped on. And now I think if we angle the camera a little bit downwards, we should get a glimpse of that crocodile coming up soon. Okay, there it is. It's hiding behind the rock. I knew it was there. Look at me go. Great safari spotter. Not really. Well, if you didn't see it the first time when we were panning from left to right, I don't blame you. Crocodile's cryptic camouflage, especially at this time of the year, aids them to be able to blend into almost anything, especially the ground, which is just grey scattered with elephant dung for the most part. That's all the sort of reddish coloration that you can see. And then, Mr. UHE, you said that uh, there were lions at Tau this morning and yesterday afternoon. Okay, so maybe they're still lingering around the tree line. I think that's a pretty good move for the lions, but I'll touch on that a little bit. So, Crocodile, you're out of the water. We have just had breeding season for the crocs. So I'm not sure if it is a female or not. There's very little sexual dimorphism between the male and female crocodiles, other than the fact that the male crocs can get quite large. But you won't notice something along those lines. So there, of course, are going to be nesting crocodiles, potentially up in this area above the flood line in the nice soft sand, which is easy to dig into. Oh no! So Kirsten has just messaged me saying that they did lay eggs and the jackals ate them. Not very nice. That's disappointing. Well, good meal for the jackals though. And then Kirsten says that they aren't very particularly deep, so they them every year. I wonder why they're not digging them down. Okay, I suppose I don't know how hard the ground is. Got the loose soil on top, but big action. It could quite well be that the ground, just a couple of centimeters down, then becomes too hard, which would make sense. Oh, elephant, I'm not ready to talk about you yet. We're still focusing on the crocodile. There we go. Sorry, apologies for that, everybody. Um, so that's devastating. It's important that those crocodiles dig down deep enough. But yeah, gosh, luckily they breed for the most part every single year. So hopefully they'll get it right at some point. We've got a little breeding herd of elephants coming down to have a drink and, of course, target the already destroyed tree. But I still see some greenery on there. And then we've got Casper's third ghost. Hello, hello. You've got hot coffee and you're just in time. And then Kaoru, you said no, it's not homemade chicken soup. It is microwave soup. The best though. I remember as a kid I used to love a cup of soup. It was like my favorite thing. Whole wide world. I actually forgot about them. I might have to get some again. Elephants, where are you going to stop and drink, or have you already had a drink? It looks like some of them have got wet trunks. Can you see that? Look at the tips of their trunks, and their feet are also slightly wet, which says to me that they have had a drink towards the left-hand side of the dam. And marching past the crocodile doesn't actually care that the elephants are passing by. But the Tau waterhole has almost completely dried up. This is crazy. This is the lowest I've seen the water. But we're all hoping that we're going to get rain soon. It says that it might rain in Hoedspruit tomorrow, but I'll believe it when I see it. Otherwise, no rain at all. Devastating news. But hopefully this area, though, in the North South Africa gets rain before we are. Thank you, elephants, for just popping in. We'll see if any others come through. And then let me try that again. Mindy, you've said that you didn't know crocs had a breeding season. Oh, absolutely. It's one of my favorite things to witness. I wasn't fortunate enough to see this type of behavior early on in my career, because when I first started guiding, I was all the way down in the Eastern Cape, and crocodiles don't do so well in that area. The temperatures just get quite cold. But I do know some reserves try to reintroduce them once again, but they weren't necessarily as successful. Winters are cold and miserable, raining, and very, very low conditions, very windy too. But then I was up in Zambia, and I just wasn't there during the right time to see the breeding season. So I've actually only really seen the last couple of years, maybe pre-2019. Actually, I think when I first went to Mara, which was 2017. That was incredible. And that's where you'd witness the crocodiling. The males are incredible. They slap their tails around in the water. They do the weird vibration, and you watch the water sort of ripple around them. They roar. I don't know how else to describe a crocodile, the sort of deep gurgling sounds they make. And of course, they do this to entice the females. And then yeah, and then obviously shortly after the females will go and lay their eggs, and then they sort of sit by them for quite some time until they hatch. They're great mothers, but when you can't dig your eggs down very deep, of course, if you just leave the nest for just a moment, something as opportunistic as jackals might come through. And especially if it's the same pair of jackals that have been utilizing this area, they're going to learn and they'll know exactly at what time of the year the something as opportunistic as jackals might come through. And especially if it's the same pair of jackals that have been utilizing this area, they're going to learn and they'll know exactly at what time of the year the crocodiles are going to lay their eggs and when they should start being opportunistic. Animals are smart, much smarter than what we think. It's very quiet. It sounds like there's not even a bird chirping at the moment. You can just hear the tiny hum from the camera. How strange. This dam is filled with life, but I suppose some birds had to move on. Oh, ha! Apparently the mic is being fixed as we speak, so that is why it is so quiet. And all sorts of animals coming by and different weather conditions. Oh, there we go. What do we got? Egrets. Let's look at the egrets, those white birds. And yeah, so things break naturally, and then they need to be repaired. Who have we got? We've got some egrets there. I'm just trying to see if they're little egrets. I don't think they are, because they've got dark legs with bright yellow feet. And these ones have got yellow beaks and yellow legs. So let's play a little game while we're waiting for animals to come past. Who can tell me what species of egret that is? We get a couple of them. So we get the great egret, we get the little egret, we see the western cattle egret for the most part. And I can't say that I've seen many of the intermediate or yellow billed. So I'll give you all a chance, and then we'll go from there while we watch some elephants come on by. But again, it looks like they've already had water to drink. Those tips of those trunks are nice and wet. Rather surprised that none of them have sprayed mud all over their bodies. It's quite hot. It's not as hot today as it has been for the past 2 days, but still warm. I mean, I'm sitting inside in the air conditioning with all the doors and windows closed because I just from the heat. So today has been quite pleasant. Oh gosh, and there's also another big bird there. We've got all sorts of things. When last did I do some birding with all of you? Not for a long time. I'm just waiting for one person to guess what egret that is. And then it looks like a grey heron that's on the left-hand side, that really tall bird. And then there's a small black bird over there that might be a common moor. Difficult to see from this distance. Look at this. This water used to cover a greater area. There's still so much grass. But also, I mean, wonderful to see, because it does just allow animals to graze a bit better. You can imagine the risks involved making an attempt to get to the grass with crocodiles lying below the murky waters. Quite daunting. Oh, what was that splash on the left? Crocodile. We're going to pan across there now. I think it might have been a croc, unless it was an elephant. No, it is a crocodile. What are you doing, croc? Sorry, everyone. I'm not controlling the cameras, so I'm just waiting for a response to be able to hit that side. And they will go there now. No, the other left. Okay, so we've gone too far. I don't know. It looked like a crocodile had launched itself out of the water to try and catch something. Wasn't that amazing that I was saying that? So not quite where we want to be right now. But I suppose we'll just check the elephants out. And there we go. said you think that those white birds were cattle egrets. You are spot on. They absolutely were cattle egrets. Well done. We do see them quite often in this area. I think that moment of action is unfortunately over. So I will never know what the crocodile tried to grab and if it actually caught anything. But it definitely made a rather large splash. And there are going to be some fish species in the water, so it could have been going for something like that. I don't think it was necessarily a mammal species that was moving around. The water did not eat there, so if it was, we'd still be some sort of commotion. Nice surprise regardless. Let's see. Maybe we can try a different camera. I'm wondering if we should head back towards Hyena Pan in Botswana and elephants started because there were quite a few of them just before the show was starting. There we go. Ah, okay. I think that camera actually might be stuck, so we won't be going back. Oh, there we go. What do you have, Crocodile? What do you have? Go a little bit left. I can't see. Is it a fish? It did catch something. I can't see perfectly. Sorry, I'm now shuffling, so sorry for the shuffling. It didn't look like it had feathers on it. I mean, the heron didn't seem phased, nor did the eagle. They kind of just carried on doing what they were doing. So let's see if a crocodile lifts its head up above the water. They can't eat underneath the water, otherwise they would probably drown, I suppose. So that's why they've got to have their heads outside the water, and you sort of see them tossing it back down their throats, so they're able to. Is it a fish or is it a bird? Oh, it's an antelope leg. Ah, okay, I can't see what antelope leg that was. So this is fresh kill. This is obviously something. Look at the size of this crocodile, though. We'll just keep following it to the left. It seems like we're not winning with the cameras today. This one is also getting a bit stuck, so please bear. So yeah, so this crocodile obviously caught this antelope, or maybe another crocodile caught it. I mean, a bunch of situations that could have gone on here, and that looks like maybe it was the last of it. And swallowing that leg is going to be absolutely no problem for the croc. Wow, that was very cool to see. The one Egyptian goose is kind of just keeping an eye on that croc, but not particularly perturbed. And the longer the prey stays in the water, the softer it gets too. It's almost like it's being marinated. And because crocodiles aren't able to hold their prey with their front appendages and their claws, they've got to try and find a way to spit to sort of soak and tear chunks off of it a little. Oh, and there we go. Bowl of kittens. You said that the crocs actually had an impala a few days ago. Well, this could quite easily be the remains of that impala, for sure. I'm surprised it would have lasted as long. But there goes the leg. I think it's trying to get the leg down and scull it now. There it goes. Just angling it the right way. I don't know if that was an impala leg, though. It almost looked like a bit more waterbuck to me. The hair looked very grey, but again, it could have been discolored because of the water. But what a great feast for this crocodile. Their digestive systems are just so amazing that hair and bones is no problem for them to get rid of. Goodness gracious. With the size of the teeth on that crocodile too. But difficult to say how big this croc is. But it's 3.5 meters. I think it's a relatively big one. Oh, okay. And then I've just received more information that a dead waterbuck carcass by Waterhole, which you're eating last night. I'm going to go ahead and say that is what this crocodile is eating. It's always a risk when lions make a kill near the waterhole, which is why they've been hanging around in this area. Animals are desperate. They need to find something to drink. And then, of course, this grass is very tempting. So pretty much exactly what I said has happened. But then crocodiles will easily leave the water. They're obviously not going to travel like 8 kilometers to try and get a carcass to bring it back. But if it's within the vicinity of the waterhole, they'll go out and they'll challenge the lions and grab hold of the carcass. I've never seen it before, but I've seen so many videos where people have witnessed this behavior before. And oh gosh, I would absolutely love to see that. So good for the crocs. Sorry for the lions. They're going to have to hold on to it a bit better. Oh, there's 2 crocodiles there. Let's see if they've got anything more. Or if they're both just going to keep on moving. Nah, it looks like they might be finished. It's just that one that's sort of lingering around. But if the lions ate most of it, then there would just be bits and pieces like the legs left. The crocs will eat anything, they don't mind. They're not particularly fussy. And a mammal meal is a good one. Well, I suppose any meal is a good meal, right? Unless it's not. No, I'm just joking. I'm just confusing everybody now, even myself. Well, I think that is the most action from a reptile that I've seen on the live cameras. Of course, when we watch some Wild Moment shows, we go back and we see some phenomenal footage from the week. But like I said, that show is on a Thursday. If you've never watched, we are just narrating, or when I say we, I mean myself and all my personalities. I am narrating the live cameras. Okay, they're crocodiling off. Oh, it's not very deep at all. You can even see the mud starting to form at the top. The water's dropping very quickly. Makes sense that it was a waterbuck. We see waterbuck around this area every single day, and they are often the brave ones that will move through the long grass and the murky waters. And the others, I've seen impala come through and try their luck, but a little bit hesitant. Okie dokie, we're now back in Botswana at Inquire Private Reserve at Hyena Pan. You can hear the Meave starlings chatting away in the background. And of course, just a couple of elephant bulls who are taking their time. Looks like they've had a drink of water. They've over their bodies too. Will you give us a full roll around in the mud? We'll just have to wait and see. So this is a beautiful reserve. I've spent quite a bit of time in Kwai. It's enormous. It's about 200,000 hectares. But within those 2,000 hectares, there's sort of little continents that can drive on and others cannot. But it's very special. It's very diverse in terms of the, I suppose I can say little ecozones that they have. Like right now, we're in the Mapani thickets. But as soon as you move towards the Kwai rivers to the southern sections, you'll start to see more channels, a lot more greenery, and that's where most of the animals will be congregating now. But of course, the bulls, they're just wanderers, so they're just happy to spend their time wherever. And if there are any Mapani leaves that are still left, that are dry and crispy on the ground at this time of the year, the animals won't say no to them. Can't be picky about what you eat. Then Mindy, just going back to the cattle egrets we saw previously, you've said, why are they called cattle egrets? Well, this particular species of egret tends to be more social So they nest sort of in communities with a bunch of other birds too. I suppose all the egret species do that. But the cackle egrets, that's what I'd be called if I was a bird, a cackle. I don't enjoy eating insects though, but they do. They follow the animals around. So you can imagine a big herd of buffalo or a big herd of cattle moving through, and plenty of those birds. I mean, the birds, they're doing multiple things. So the animals help the egrets get food. But many, they're not intentionally doing it. But if we look at the elephants that are in front of us, elephants defecate quite regularly. So then when they defecate, the dung is nice and moist. The insects just zip on in. They want to get their time at the feeding table, being the dung. And then, of course, the egrets will hang around that and grab hold of that. There's not much grass for the animals to walk through at the moment. So what I noticed when I was in Zambia, I suppose, was that they weren't actually animals around and getting them undisturbed. They were actually doing the behavior that I just described now, following mega herbivores that defecate lots. And I think that was quite clever that they opted for that method. And that's it. We as humans, we love to put boxes and, I don't know, say animals do things and they don't things, but they just have to adapt to really be able to survive, right? So they might not do something this year, but next year something different if they absolutely have to. Now, these bulls are making me sleepy, though, the way they're just standing around. And after the show, I'm mentally preparing to go for a run, which I'm really not looking forward to. Perhaps if I was being chased by elephants, I'd probably want to run a bit faster and be practicing sprints rather than the stamina. Look at, they're all fiddling and just playing with his trunk, and on the left, sort of around, the other one's trunk on his forehead. It would be really funny if the elephants could actually just sit down on their bums. Like, think about how dogs sit. That would be great. I think that'd be quite comfortable. And we've got itchy feet. We're using the other foot with the toenails to scratch the back of the foot. I wonder what they're saying to one another. Well, they're not like particularly interacting with each other, but they're not bothered by each other's presence either. They're just sort of happily having a little chat. I'm very curious as to watching their trunks. Like this one on the left, you can see he's picked up a scent now, coming from the direction of the cameras. Here he's got his trunk slightly turned and facing towards us. And the way that he was moving it around there suggested to me that he was smelling something that piqued his interest. And see, not really having a good drink of water, really just picking tiny bits up or sucking up tiny bits and spraying it in their mouth. I suppose we all do that though. When we're really thirsty, we come in and we gulp it down too fast, and then we have to sip it slowly for the rest of the day. I don't know if it's the same for elephants, but let's go with that. If there's nothing else, I suppose they're in a hurry to do. So why not hang out at the pool? So you won't catch me drinking the water that I'm swimming in. Not for me. Here we go, some movement. We'll try and stick with where they go. But goodness, there's so much dung around. You can just see all those reddish tones. It's just dung that has been broken up by birds, also looking for insects or partially digested fruits. And this elephant in front is making me giggle a little bit because the way it's got his trunk rested on his head, it's like, when there's a damsel in distress and they're about to faint and they put their hands above their eyebrows. Oh no! It's like that what an elephant is doing right now. Obviously, it's not doing that though. Very dramatic, yes. There we go, have a scratch. Haha, okay. We're going to head to another camera that I don't think I've visited just yet. We're going to go to Wangi Safari Lodge, which is all the way in Zimbabwe. Check it out. There we go. You can hear the happy guests at the lodge and a small child. And then, of course, what we're looking at right now, those really big birds are called Marabou storks. It looks like there's a bunch of other birds with them too. Some Egyptian geese. I'm just trying to see what everything else is, but it's a little bit of a distance away. I think there might be black-winged stilts as well. But all lingering around the water. Life around the waterhole at this time of the year is filled with exciting moments. And Wangi National Park is an amazing wilderness area. It's a pretty old game reserve or national park. They've got big prides of lions that live around here, and that specialize in hunting large, very large mammal species. So not surprised that we're seeing loads and loads of storks. It's funny, like in South Africa, we don't see that many marabou. I'm yet to see, and maybe on the east coast towards KwaZulu-Natal, maybe Tembe side, you maybe will see higher densities of marabou storks, but otherwise, I've just seen a handful here and there. But as soon as you move out of the country and you go into Botswana, you go into Zambia, Zimbabwe, they are everywhere. Tanzania, Kenya, same thing, plenty of them. They're not up to too much right now. A lot of them are just resting and doing some feather maintenance. Looked like one was maybe having a drink of water. This sounds like someone is trying to do a hyena impression, but I think it's a child. Okay, we're changing it up. We are now at Katmai, which I haven't visited in a long time. For a moment, I thought we were at Oldonyo in Kenya with a zebra and giraffe. You can hear them all having a drink. One's behaving nicely. No chaos. We're off at the Oldonyo camera. You can even hear them slurping. Good. The zebras will get a free splash as the giraffe tosses its head back when it's finished drinking. I would like to know what it must feel like to drink water like that. I think I'm going to have to try. I'd probably also pass out or choke. Maybe I have to do it supervised. To be fair, I need to be supervised even on the best of days. Thank you, giraffe, for putting on a show. And after a quick drink, of course, like when you're sitting at a bar, there's always salty peanuts or crisps. And I feel like that's what the giraffe just did. Had a drink, and I'm going to carry on snacking. It looks like a fork-tailed drongo has just landed amongst the leaves on the left-hand side of the giraffe. Now I'm trying to figure out, is that thunder that I can hear rumbling in the distance? Or is it a vehicle? I think it might be a vehicle, which is quite sad. I was hoping to get a big thunderstorm tonight. So where I live, Katmai is not actually that far away from me. So this is really a true representation of what most of the Lowveld looks like. I haven't been up to the Sabi Sand Game Reserve in a couple of years. I am heading there soon, so I'll be able to do a better comparison. I think there might be a little bit more grass left. But Baluli, Kasiri is kind of on the arid side. There's a safari vehicle. Look at that. Wouldn't you love to be them? But that's what I love about these shows, is that it is so expensive to travel to these destinations. And not accessible. And these cameras are just great for that. Okay, now we're going to listen to the safari guide and hear what he has to say about the giraffe. Or I'll interpret for all of you. The guide has said the following. Giraffe. That's all I heard. I don't know if all of you heard the same thing. That always makes me giggle. We all talk about a variety of different about animals. And don't worry, the game drive vehicle's sound is just being amplified because of the phenomenal microphone. Not microscope, microphone. And Mindy, you said, wow, you love the perspective of this camera. Me too. It's very much like sort of eye level. You can see how you'd be able to walk between a giraffe's legs, and a zebra, you'd probably look them straight in the eye. Actually, all of them aren't effectively in terms of shoulder height. However, they do a couple of 100 kilograms, so watch out for them. You can see there's some irritation now, the way that this zebra on the left is pulling its ears back. Must be something biting it too, because the tail is swishing from side to side quite vigorously. And Tucker, my dog, has just come over to say hello. If you hear panting, I promise it's not me, it's him. And I can hear his tail slapping against the couch. Okay, we're going to go just now. Look at that. The stripes on the zebras are just magnificent too. Each with their own unique patterns. I'm just looking at the zebra on the right though. What is going on with your tummy? Can you see that, or do you think that it's just shadows? I'm trying to figure out. I don't know if those are mammary glands. Does everyone see what I'm looking at? Right. I need to ask the zebra to move out of the way. We're going to zoom in now and hopefully get a better look at it. Well, it could be some kind of like hematoma, maybe an abscess. There we go. I've now got my head sideways. I bet you're all doing the same thing. Zebra, move. We're trying to look. I don't know. I think it doesn't look like the mammary glands. It looks like there is something going on. I mean, I could be horribly mistaken here. It does look like there's something happening there. Quite a bit of unevenness. But I have absolutely no idea what has happened. Now that they're done drinking, are you going to hang around longer? Is that zebras fight quite often. So if it did get a hoof to that area, quite sensitive, that could have caused a hematoma. But also, I don't know if it looks like there's some scarring. Gosh, so many things could have gone wrong. A mystery will never know. And look at the giraffe defecating. It's very exciting. No, you can see how even it is on all the other giraffe. There's no problems at all. Gosh, all of the animals apart from their family all behave. This so unbelievable. Makes me miss horses when I watch the zebras as they lick their lips push their ears back, show their teeth. So she looks like she's pregnant. So when she stands like that, I can see her mammary glands that are swollen. It looks like at the back. Hey, David, you said she had a tummy tuck. Maybe that's better than my guess. So it looks like there's mammary glands that are swollen there, but I'm just not sure what was pushing out on the one side. Maybe yeah, I don't know. Look there. There you can see a teat. Maybe she's going to give birth soon. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's the foal sitting in a weird position or pushing against something. Oh, watch out. Oh, maybe it is just those mammary glands that are so full at the moment. Bonnet, these zebras get hernias. I'm not sure. I imagine they must. Interesting stuff. Here we go. That giraffe, you couldn't even see its head as it walked on past. Where I live at the moment, there have been a couple of giraffes that have had their foals. They're so tiny and so cute. But yeah, something's definitely a little bit different with her. So a big swollen mammary glands, but there is something else there that we're just not able to pinpoint. They're always a bit tricky. Gosh, zebra, what are you eating over there? You can see, desperate, checking in between the fallen trees. Let's just see if there's any last grass morsels that have been left behind. Then Stephanie, you said, I'm surprised animals stay anywhere near humans and their vehicles. You're not wrong, but the animals in this area have been interacting with people for the most part in a game viewer, like what we're looking at the moment, and I suppose on foot. They don't have the same relationship. And because the vehicles act in a positive way, and part, right, try our best as guides, is that they have really just learned that we're not anything to necessarily fear. They're always a little bit on the hesitant side, but you could see that the game viewer drove up and the animals didn't even flinch or move around. So that's a good indication that they are very happy with the situation, or maybe not happy, tolerant of the situation. Okay, someone's had enough of the zebra and the giraffe. Bye-bye, first guy, there you are. Sure, racing off. Must be a wild dog sighting nearby. No, just teasing. I have no idea, but it did sound like he did a wheel spin. Now the guards are having a chat to one another, getting some updates. Where are you going to check next? What are you going to look for? Tucker, there's no thing, but thank you very much. Sorry, Tucker's now starting to cough. Joy. Apologies if you do hear a bark. It's not the zebras. Taking advantage of the reeds that are growing there now. Again, they just can't be picky. They've just got to munch whatever they can get. And if they stay there for any longer, those reeds will be gone. They are quite tough and hardy, though. Even though the vegetative part is going to be munched away, the roots will still linger there, not lingle. Lingle is when you've lingered for too long. I've just created that. They need to change that in the dictionary. And so that once we get some rain again, the plant will be able to self. It's good to have some kind of reeds in the water too. It just helps with the purification process. But it's been a fun time, and I hope that you've enjoyed it. It was very cool to see that crocodile thrashing around. But as usual, I had the most fun, and I can't wait you all again. But if I don't see you again this month, I hope on Thursday. Have a great day, and goodbye.